The universe did not end with a scream, nor with the thunder of colliding planets. It ended with a giggle. In the center of the Null Realm, amidst the shattered debris of the Tournament of Power, the Omni-King raised a small, colorful hand. The gesture was innocent, childlike, terrifyingly absolute. Goku, battered and broken, his ultra instinct silver fading into the bruising purple of exhaustion, reached out. His fingers clawed at the empty air, desperate to bridge the gap, to offer a friendship that had suddenly turned into an execution. But the space between them warped. The concept of distance evaporated. There was a sound like tearing parchment, a wet, cosmic rip that echoed in the bones of every god watching from the stands. Goku felt the erasure before he saw it. It was not pain. Pain is a signal sent to a living brain. But this was the dismantling of the brain itself. His memories, his battles, the smell of the earth after rain, the laughter of his granddaughter, they didn't fade. They were simply unwritten. He looked at his hand, and it was gone. Not severed, but absent, as if it had never held a Dragon Ball, never clenched into a fist of defiance. Beerus screamed a name that no longer existed. The Grand Priest smiled, a cold, beatific expression that accepted the void. But as the white nothingness swallowed the last spark of the Saiyan's consciousness, something ancient stirred in the cracks between dimensions. It was a friction, a golden heat that smelled of molten stars and wish magic. A massive, reptilian eye opened in the deep dark behind the fabric of Xenos reality. It was not a god of destruction. It was a god of possibility. And just before the candle of Son Goku was snuffed out forever, a golden jaw, vast enough to swallow galaxies, clamped shut around him, snatching him from the timeline. The Null Realm fell silent. The Saiyan was gone. But he was not dead. The timeline has fractured, and the ink of destiny is wet. Before we descend into the throat of the Dragon God and witness a power that defies the kings of all, anchor your spirit to this legend. Ignite the like button to lend your energy to the spirit bomb of this narrative, and subscribe so you do not vanish into the void when the history of the cosmos is rewritten. There is no cold in the void, for cold is a measurement, and here there was nothing to measure. Son Goku did not float. Floating implies a medium to rest upon. He simply ceased. The sensation was not like falling asleep, nor was it like the black unconsciousness that followed a brutal defeat. It was the terrifying, sterile sensation of being unmade. It was the feeling of a sentence being backspaced, letter by letter, until the page is white again. The memory of his grandfather's face dissolved. The smell of Kaichi's cooking evaporated. The thrill of the fight, that electric current that had driven his heart for 40 years, was snuffed out like a candle in a hurricane. He was a ghost of a memory, drifting in the absolute white of the Omni-King's erasure. Then, there was a heartbeat. It was not his own. It was too slow, too deep. It was a rhythmic thrumming that vibrated through the non-existent concept of his soul. It sounded like the groaning of tectonic plates, shifting deep beneath the crust of a planet. With the sound came color, a blinding, liquid gold that flooded the nothingness, burning away the sterile white of Xenos power. Goku gasped, his lungs inflating with air that tasted of ozone and ancient parchment. His eyes snapped open. He was on his hands and knees, retching, coughing up a translucent, silver fluid that sizzled as it hit the ground. But it wasn't ground. He was kneeling on a surface that resembled polished amber, endless and smooth, stretching out into an horizon that curved upward, enclosing him inside a sphere of impossible magnitude. Above him, there was no sky, only a swirling nebula of golden clouds, thick and heavy, moving with the lethargy of oil. I'm alive? Goku whispered. His voice sounded wrong, distorted, layered, as if 3 versions of himself were speaking at once. He looked at his hands. They were translucent, flickering like a failing hologram before solidifying into flesh. The scars from his battle with Jiren were gone. His gi was intact, but the orange fabric seemed muted, stripped of its vibrancy. He scrambled to his feet, his combat instincts flaring, searching for an energy signature. He reached out with his senses, expecting to feel the stinging pressure of Jiren, the divine heat of Beerus, or the terrifying emptiness of the Grand Priest. He felt nothing. No ki existed here. Only a pervasive, crushing weight that pressed against his mind. A gravity that pulled not on his body, but on his will. Beerus? Whis? Goku shouted, cupping his hands around his mouth. Hey, is anyone there? His shout didn't echo. The sound was swallowed instantly by the heavy golden air. Silence, son of Bardock. The voice did not come from a specific direction. It vibrated in the marrow of Goku's bones. It was a voice of dust and diamonds, ancient beyond the concept of time. The amber floor beneath Goku's feet trembled, and the golden clouds above parted slowly, like heavy curtains drawn back by invisible giants. From the swirling mist, a shape descended. It was serpentine, vast enough to coil around a galaxy. Scales the size of continents shimmered with a luster that made the Super Dragon Balls look like cheap marbles. But unlike the eternal dragon Shenron, whose eyes burned with red fire, this entity had eyes of pure, calm, white voids of creation that held no judgment, only infinite observation. It was ZALAMA, the divine creator, the architect of the impossible. Goku took a step back, his boots squeaking on the amber floor. The pressure radiating from the entity forced him into a defensive stance, his knees bending instinctively. He tried to summon his ki, to flare the silver flame of Ultra Instinct, but his energy sputtered, dying in his chest like a wet match. What are you? Goku stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. Where is the tournament? Where is Jiren? The tournament is a memory, ZALAMA rumbled, his massive head lowering until it hovered mere meters from the Saiyan. The heat radiating from the dragon's snout smelled of creation of magma and blooming flowers. The one you call Jiren is currently fighting for a universe that has already been earmarked for deletion. You, however, are nowhere. You are in the space between the ink and the paper. You are in my throat. Goku unclenched his fists, confusion warring with his warrior's spirit. Your throat? Did you eat me? I salvaged you, ZALAMA corrected. The Omni-King, Zeno, does not understand the tapestry he unpicks. He pulls a thread because he dislikes the color, unaware that the entire cloth unravels. When he erased you, I caught your essence, before it returned to the void. I invoked the primordial right of the Creator. The dragon shifted, its massive coils sliding against each other with the sound of grinding mountains. To the multiverse. Son Goku, you are dead. Your timeline has closed over your absence, like water over a sinking stone. Vegeta, your children, your gods. They believe you have been erased from existence. The words hit Goku harder than any punch Jiren had thrown. The image of the Grand Priest, smiling, the blank face of Zeno raising his hand, it all crashed back into his mind. He wasn't just beaten. He was discarded. No, Goku said, his voice trembling, then hardening. No, I can't be dead. I promised. I have to go back. If I'm not there, who's going to stop Jiren? Who's going to win the wish? There is no wish to be won, ZALAMA said, his voice dropping an octave, becoming colder. Do you think a wish granted by my orbs can fix the rot at the heart of your reality? You fight for survival in a game rigged by a child who treats universes as toys. If you return now, you return to the same cycle. You fight, you break your limits, you amuse the gods, and eventually, the child gets bored. And then, click. ZALAMA's white eyes narrowed. I did not save you to let you return to be a plaything, Saiyan. I saved you because the balance is broken. Destruction has outweighed creation for too long. The angels are complicit. The destroyers are incompetent. And the king is a chaotic variable. The dragon god's breath washed over Goku, hot and heavy. I require a vessel, not to make a wish, but to become the wish. Goku looked up, his black eyes meeting the white voids of the dragon. He felt a chill that had nothing to do with fear. It was the chill of destiny, the sensing of a wall that he could not punch through, a wall that he had to climb. I don't understand all this god talk, Goku said, his voice low. I just want to protect my friends. If you say I can't go back, then I'll find a way out of here. I'll bust out if I have to. ZALAMA did not laugh. Ancient things do not laugh. Instead, the golden atmosphere thickened, turning into a solid pressure that slammed Goku flat against the amber floor. He struggled, his muscles straining, veins popping in his neck, but he couldn't move a millimeter. It wasn't gravity. It was authority. You possess the will of a conqueror, but the vision of a peasant. ZALAMA's voice boomed, vibrating the floor against Goku's chest. You think of busting out. You think of fighting. That is why you failed. That is why you were erased. Ultra Instinct allowed you to move without thinking, but it did not teach you to exist without permission. The pressure lifted slightly, allowing Goku to gasp for air, his ribs aching. To leave this place, Son Goku, you must do the one thing a Saiyan cannot do. You must stop wanting to fight. You must learn to write. The pressure vanished as quickly as it had arrived, leaving Goku gasping on the smooth amber floor. He pushed himself up, his limbs trembling not from exhaustion, but from the sheer alien nature of the force that had just pinned him. It wasn't ki, it was something denser, something that felt like the heavy, inevitable turning of a page in a history book. Right. Goku wheezed, wiping a trickle of blood from his nose. He looked up at the towering visage of ZALAMA, defiance still burning in his eyes, though dimmed by confusion. I'm a martial artist. I don't write. I fight. That's how I protect people. And look where that has gotten you. ZALAMA intoned, the great white eyes unblinking. You are a master of kinetics, of delivering force from point A to point B. You shatter rocks. You break bones. You push energy beams. These are the actions of a child throwing stones in a pond. The ripples are violent, yes, but the water returns to stillness. You change nothing permanently. The dragon god shifted, and the golden nebula above them swirled, forming images. Goku watched, mesmerized, as shapes coalesced in the mist. He saw Frieza blowing up planet Vegeta. He saw Cell disintegrating. He saw Boo being erased by the spirit bomb. You defeat threats, Zalama continued, the images cycling faster. But the universe generates new ones to fill the vacuum. You crave the battle, Saiyan. You invite the chaos because it gives you purpose. You are addicted to the crisis. Goku opened his mouth to argue, to say that wasn't true, that he fought because he had to, but the words caught in his throat. A memory flashed, begging Krillin to let Vegeta go on Earth, not out of mercy, but because he wanted to fight him again. Giving Cell a senzu bean, reminding Zeno of the tournament. Shame, hot and unfamiliar, pricked at the back of his neck. To dethrone the Omni-King, Zalama said, the golden clouds dispersing, you cannot simply be stronger than him. Strength is irrelevant to a being who can erase the concept of strength. To defeat him, you must be more real than he is. You must anchor your existence so deeply in the fabric of reality that you cannot be removed. You must become an axiom. Axiom. Goku tested the word. It felt heavy on his tongue. The angels wield the power of autonomy ultra instinct. The destroyers wield the power of entropy Hakai. I wield the power of possibility creation. Zalama lowered his head until he was eye level with the tiny Saiyan. I cannot leave this dimension. My power is too vast. It would shatter the fragile glass of the lower worlds. I need a proxy. A living intersection of these three powers. You have the Saiyan drive for evolution. You have tasted the angelic calm. Now, you must ingest the dragon's will. Before Goku could react, a globule of golden light detached from one of Zalama's floating scales. It drifted down, pulsating with a rhythmic, drum-like beat. It hovered in front of Goku's chest, radiating a heat that singed the hair on his arms. This is a drop of my blood, Zalama stated. It is not ki. It is pure narrative authority. If you accept it, your biology will be rewritten. You will no longer be just a Saiyan. You will be a hybrid of mortal flesh and divine law. The pain will be beyond the nerve endings of a physical body. It will burn your soul. Goku looked at the golden drop. He thought of Vegeta, struggling against Toppo. He thought of Gohan, Piccolo, and 17. He thought of the universe he had left behind, spinning toward a silent, erased doom. If I do this, Goku asked, his voice steady now, the trembling gone. If I survive this, can I fix it? Can I stop Zeno from erasing everything, just because he's bored? You will have the power to try, Zalama answered. But know this, the Goku who steps out of this cocoon will not be the Goku who entered. You will lose the luxury of being a fool. Goku closed his eyes. The stars burned quietly, as if remembering his will. And in the center of all things, the Golden Guardian kept his vigil, the eternal champion of a story that would never end. His eyes rolled back, the irises dissolving from black to silver, then shattering into vertical, reptile slits of burning gold. His orange gi disintegrated, blown away by a shockwave of pressure that cracked the amber floor beneath him. His body arched, muscles tearing and re-knitting in milliseconds. His spine elongated, cracking audibly. Scales, tiny, microscopic, shimmering scales began to form along his forearms and neck, hardening his skin into living armor. Endure, Zalama's voice thundered, no longer external but echoing inside Goku's own skull. Do not fight the pain. Accept it. Rewrite it. You are not dying, you are being edited. Goku's consciousness began to fragment. He was falling through the multiverse. He saw timelines where he died of the heart virus, timelines where he joined Raditz, timelines where he became a god of destruction. He saw them all, not as possibilities, but as rejected drafts. I am Son Goku, his mind screamed, trying to hold on to his identity as the golden fire consumed him. I am a Saiyan from Earth. You were, the dragon's voice whispered. Now, you are the instrument of will. The transformation reached its crescendo. A pillar of golden light erupted from Goku's chest, piercing the nebula above. The dimension shook. The silence of the void was broken by a roar that was half human, half beast, a sound of primal, terrifying birth. And then, silence returned. On the amber floor, the figure lay curled in a fetal position. Smoke rose from his skin. The orange gi was gone, replaced by a manifestation of energy that looked like ancient, woven ceremonial robes, dark gray and gold. His hair was no longer the frantic spikes of a Super Saiyan, nor the flowing silver of Ultra Instinct. It was black, deep as the void, but streaked with veins of pulsating gold, hanging loose and wild around his shoulders. The figure stirred, a hand placed palm down on the floor. The fingers were tipped with short, sharp claws. Goku pushed himself up. He breathed, and a small puff of steam escaped his lips. He opened his eyes. The pupils were vertical slits of piercing gold, set in pools of silver. They were not the eyes of a fighter looking for an opponent. They were the eyes of a king looking at his kingdom. He looked at ZALAMA, and for the first time, he did not feel small. I see it now. The entity that was once Goku spoke. His voice was calm, resonating with a metallic, harmonic undertone. I see the strings. ZALAMA nodded slowly, a gesture of colossal respect. The lesson has begun. Now, we must sharpen the quill. Stand up, Dragon Angel. The real training begins now. Time in ZALAMA's realm did not tick. It flowed, sluggish and thick, like honey dripping from a spoon. But outside, in the fragile reality of the multiverse, the clock was racing. Goku stood in the center of the amber expanse, his new eyes tracking particles of dust that didn't exist. He felt different, heavy, yet weightless. The burning agony of the transformation had settled into a low, constant hum in his chest, a reactor core of limitless potential. The golden blood of the Dragon God now coursed through him, mingling with his Saiyan DNA, creating a volatile, terrifying harmony. You are standing still. ZALAMA's voice rumbled. The great dragon coiled in the mist like a mountain range, waiting to fall. Why? I'm listening, Goku replied. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. His voice carried effortlessly, weaving through the dense air. I can hear them, the universes. They sound brittle. Good, ZALAMA said. Your senses have expanded beyond the physical. You are hearing the structural integrity of the cosmos. It is failing. Xenos whims are eroding the foundation. Every time he erases a universe, he removes a load-bearing wall from a house that is already shaking. ZALAMA's head lowered, his white eyes narrowing. Now, strike me. Goku blinked, his vertical pupils dilating. Strike you? You said fighting was useless. Fighting for the sake of violence is useless, ZALAMA corrected. But you must learn to apply your will. You must learn to project your intent onto reality. Strike me, not with your fist, but with your truth. Wish for me to be struck. Goku frowned. This was abstract, frustrating. It went against every instinct he had honed in the dojo. Don't think, just move, Whis had taught him. Let the body react. But this demanded active thought. It demanded command. He dropped into a stance, his feet shifting on the amber floor. He closed his eyes and visualized a punch. He imagined his fist connecting with the massive snout of the Dragon God. He poured his ki into the image, fueling it with the raw power of a Super Saiyan. He snapped his eyes open and punched the air. A shockwave of blue energy exploded from his fist, screaming towards ZALAMA. The blast hit the dragon's scales and dissipated like mist against a cliff face. Not even a scratch. Pathetic. ZALAMA rumbled, the disappointment palpable. You threw energy. You obeyed the laws of physics. Action, reaction, force, resistance. You are still playing by the rules of the lower world? The dragon's tail flicked, faster than light. Goku didn't even see it coming. The impact was absolute. It wasn't a blow, it was a relocation of his entire existence. He was slammed into the amber floor with enough force to shatter a planet. The breath was driven from his lungs, his vision swimming in red and black. Again, ZALAMA commanded. Do not throw energy. The energy is already there. The energy is everywhere. Do not push the rock. Command the rock to move. Use the language of gods. Goku groaned, peeling himself off the floor. His body ached, but the dragon blood inside him surged, knitting his bruised flesh together in seconds. Command it, he thought. Don't ask. Don't push. Command. He closed his eyes again. He reached deep, past the reservoir of ki, into the new, burning golden core ZALAMA had given him. He felt the thread of reality. He felt the space between him and ZALAMA, not as distance, but as a variable. Distance equals 0. He didn't lunge. He didn't tense his muscles. He simply decided that his fist was connecting with ZALAMA's snout. Exist. He punched. There was no travel time. One moment, his fist was at his waist. The next, it was buried in the golden scales of the Dragon God. Boom. The impact didn't sound like an explosion. It sounded like a bell tolling, a deep, resonant gong that shook the entire dimension. A ripple of golden light distorted the air around the impact point. ZALAMA's head actually jerked back, a centimeter. Goku stared at his fist, stunned. He hadn't moved through the space. He had folded the space out of the way. Better, ZALAMA murmured. A low growl of approval. You bypassed causality. You struck before you moved. That is the beginning of the dragon instinct. For what felt like eons, the training continued. It was a brutal deconstruction of everything Goku knew. He learned that speed was irrelevant when you could occupy all points in a room simultaneously. He learned that defense was unnecessary when you could rewrite the timeline so the attack never happened. He learned that power wasn't about the size of the beam, but the undeniable nature of the command. He wasn't just learning to fight. He was learning to be an author in a world of characters. But as Goku grew stronger, the multiverse grew sicker. In the middle of a meditation session, where Goku floated cross-legged in the Golden Nebula, a jagged crack appeared in the sky of Zalama's dimension. It wasn't a physical crack, it was a fracture in the viewing glass. Through it, the gray, static-filled void of the null realm leaked in. Goku's eyes snapped open. The gold in his irises flared. What is that? The rot, Zalama said, his voice grave. The Grand Priest is trying to stabilize the balance, but he is failing. Zeno has erased another universe. Universe 6 is gone. Goku's heart skipped a beat. Champa, Kaba, Caulifla, Kale. Gone? Goku whispered. The calm of the dragon blood wavered, the hot, frantic anger of the Saiyan bubbling up. He erased them? Just like that? The game was lost, Zalama said, and so the pieces were discarded. This is the nature of your king. Goku stood up in the air, the golden robes of energy billowing around him. His jaw set, a muscle feathering in his cheek. The indifference of it, the casual cruelty. It wasn't evil, it was worse. It was meaningless. I'm not waiting anymore, Goku said, his voice vibrating with a dual-layered resonance. I'm ready. Send me back. You are not ready, Zalama warned. You have mastered the mechanics, but your heart is still tethered to your mortality. You grieve for them. Emotion is fuel, yes, but it is also a leash. If you confront the angels with anger, they will unravel you. I don't care, Goku roared, and for a second, the Golden Nebula turned a violent, crimson red. The dimension shook. They're my friends! I promised Vegeta it'd bring them back! I promised! He clenched his fists, and the space around him shattered like glass. Shards of reality rained down. Zalama watched, silent. He saw the grief, he saw the rage, but beneath it, he saw something else, the terrifying, indomitable will that refused to accept the ending. Very well, Zalama said quietly. Perhaps that tether is what makes you dangerous. The angels are detached. That is their flaw. They do not care enough to break the rules. You care too much. The dragon god opened his massive jaws. Inside, a vortex of swirling light appeared, a portal, not to a place, but to a moment. Go, son Goku. The Grand Priest has dispatched his children to locate the anomaly, you. They are hunting your signature. If you step through this door, you declare war on the heavens. Goku floated toward the maw of the dragon. He stopped at the precipice, looking back at the ancient, white eyes. I'm not declaring war, Goku said, his expression grim, the golden vertical slits of his eyes burning with cold fire. I'm conducting a rescue operation. He stepped into the light. The transition was instant. One moment, warm amber light. The next, the freezing, crushing silence of the interuniversal void. Goku materialized in the darkness. He was not in a universe, but in the superstructure that held them. A kaleidoscope of floating, translucent bubbles. Far in the distance, he could see the dim flicker of Universe 7 and the gaping, black wound where Universe 6 used to be. He didn't have to wait long. Space warped. A vertical pillar of blue light descended a few hundred meters away. From the light stepped a figure, elegant, tall, holding a staff topped with a floating gem. It was Whis. The angel looked impeccable, his halo shimmering, his expression one of polite curiosity, masked by absolute detachment. He tapped his staff on the non-existent floor. Oh my, Whis said, his voice light and airy. We were wondering where that strange interference was coming from. I must say, Goku-san, you look changed. And technically, you are supposed to be dead. Goku drifted forward. He didn't flare his ki. He didn't take a fighting stance. He just drifted, his hands loose at his sides, the golden-gray robes of energy flowing as if underwater. Whis, Goku said. It wasn't a greeting. It was an acknowledgement. The Grand Priest is quite upset, Whis continued, tilting his head. You violated the decree of erasure, and you seem to have acquired some unauthorized divine essence. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to come with me. Or, alternatively, I'll have to tap you with this staff and finish what Zeno-sama started. Whis smiled, but his eyes were cold. Please don't make this difficult, Goku-san. You know you can't hit me. Goku stopped 10 meters away. He looked at his teacher, the being who had taught him to move without thinking, who had introduced him to the realm of the gods. He felt a pang of sadness, sharp and deep. I'm not going back, Whis, Goku said softly. And I'm not asking for permission. Whis sighed. A pity. The angel vanished. He moved faster than thought, faster than time. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Goku didn't dodge. He didn't block. He walked through them. Every time Whis' fist connected with Goku's body, it passed through him like he was smoke, only to solidify again instantly. Goku walked forward, step by step, closing the distance. You're dodging, Goku said, his voice echoing with the authority of ZALAMA. You're reacting to the attack before it lands. But I'm not attacking you, Whis. I'm rewriting the space you're standing in. Goku raised his hand. He didn't make a fist. He pointed a finger at Whis. Sit. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a command, written into the code of the moment. Gravity, multiplied by 1,000,000,000, crashed down on the angel. Whis gasped, his knees buckling. His halo flickered. He slammed his staff into the void to support himself, sweat breaking out on his pale skin. What? What is this? Whis strained, his composure shattering. This isn't God Ki. Goku stood over him, looking down. There was no arrogance in his face, only a terrible, necessary resolve. It's the end of the lesson, Whis, Goku said. He raised his palm, and a sphere of golden light, swirling with galaxies, formed in his hand. Go tell the Grand Priest, Goku said, his voice vibrating through the void. Tell him the dragon is awake, and I'm coming for the throne. The palace of the All-King was a monument to sterility. It was a place where dust dared not settle, where silence was not an absence of sound, but a law enforced by the fabric of reality. In the vast, white throne room, the Grand Priest Daishinkan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was watching the two Xenos play a game of cosmic marbles, flicking planets across a board made of woven starlight. 1, 2, boom! The present Xeno giggled, flicking a blue marble. A galaxy in the northern quadrant detonated. Neat, the future Xeno clapped. My turn, Daishinkan smiled. A small, polite expression that did not reach his violet eyes. He checked the balance of the multiverse. It was tipping. The destruction was outpacing the creation. It was inefficient, but it was the king's will. Then, the doors to the void slammed open. They didn't creak. They burst inward as if struck by a meteor. Daishinkan turned, his eyebrows raising a fraction of an inch, the equivalent of a scream for a being of his stature. Whis stumbled into the room. The Angel of Universe 7, usually the epitome of grace, looked as if he had been dragged through a hurricane. His robes were singed, his halo was dim and flickering like a dying bulb, and he was clutching his chest. He didn't bow. He fell to one knee, gasping for breath. The Xenos stopped playing. The marbles rolled away, forgotten. Whis? The present Xeno tilted his head. Why are you messy? Are you playing a game? The future Xeno asked. Grand Minister, Whis wheezed, looking up. His eyes were wide, filled with something an angel should never feel. Confusion. He is not dead. The Saiyan. He has refused the erasure. Daishinkan's smile evaporated. The temperature in the room dropped to absolute 0. Refused? Daishinkan's voice was soft, yet it cracked the floor tiles beneath Whis' knee. One does not refuse the king, Whis. One ceases to be. He has been altered, Whis reported, his voice trembling. He wields a power I cannot read. It feels like the Super Dragon Balls, but living. He calls it Dragon Instinct. He simply spoke, and I fell. Daishinkan closed his eyes. He extended his senses, casting his mind out past the palace, past the null realm, into the void between universes. He felt it immediately. It was a burning, golden friction moving toward them. It was not hiding. It was not sneaking. It was marching. It felt like a star rising in a room meant for shadows. Zalama, Daishinkan whispered. The name tasted of ancient rivalry. The old lizard has made his move. He opened his eyes. The violet irises glowed with a terrifying luminosity. My children, Daishinkan spoke. His voice was not loud, but it transmitted instantly to every angel across the 12 universes. Abandon your posts. The balance is under siege. An anomaly approaches the throne. Intercept and delete. Authorization level. Absolute. Goku walked on nothingness. He was ascending an invisible staircase that spiraled up through the kaleidoscope of the interdimensional void. The golden robes of energy flowed around him, and his new, reptilian eyes were fixed on the distant white light of the Omni-King's palace. He felt the shift in the air. The stars seemed to sharpen. The vacuum grew tense. Then, the sky began to rain silver. 12 streaks of light descended from the heavens, moving with the impossible grace of the angels. They landed in a semicircle before him, blocking his path. Vados Universe 6, Korn Universe 8, Mojito Universe 9, Cuss Universe 10. The entire host of the angelic order stood arrayed against him. Their halos chimed in unison, a harmonic resonance that usually signaled the presence of divinity. Now, it sounded like a warning siren. Goku stopped. He looked at Vados. He saw the sorrow in her eyes. She knew, likely, that Champa was gone. "Go back, son Goku," Vados said, her voice steady but laced with melancholy. "You cannot pass here. You are a mortal trespasser in the realm of the Absolute. Do not force us to destroy you." "You can't destroy me, Vados," Goku said quietly. "And I can't go back. Champa is gone. Kaba is gone. You're standing guard for a king who erased your family because he was bored." Vados flinched. The truth was a blade, and Goku wielded it without mercy. "It is the law," Mojito sneered, spinning his staff. He was the angel of the 9th universe, the one who had smiled when his universe was erased. He held no love for mortals. "You are a glitch, Saiyan, and glitches get patched." Mojito lunged. He was faster than Whis. He moved in a blur of hostility, his staff glowing with purple erasure energy. He aimed straight for Goku's heart, a strike meant to unmake the Saiyan's existence instantly. Goku didn't raise his hands. He didn't dodge. He looked at the staff. "Deny." The word rippled out, fueled by the golden blood of Zalama. Mojito's staff didn't break. It simply wasn't there anymore. One moment, the angel was holding a divine weapon. The next, he was gripping empty air. The momentum threw him off balance, and he stumbled forward. Goku caught Mojito by the throat. It wasn't a violent grab. It was a firm halt. Goku lifted the angel into the air. Mojito thrashed, firing blasts of ki point blank into Goku's face. The blasts hit Goku's skin and turned into flower petals. "What? What are you?" Mojito screamed, his dignity shattering. "I'm the wish you forgot to make," Goku said. He tossed Mojito aside. The angel crashed into the invisible barrier of the void, sliding down, unconscious not from pain, but from the sheer shock of his power being invalidated. The other angels gasped. The harmony of their halos broke. "Attack together!" Korn shouted. The sky exploded. 10 angels moved at once. It was a storm of ultra instinct, a mesmerizing dance of perfect attack and perfect defense. Beams of holy light crisscrossed the void, creating a net of destruction that no mortal could survive. But Goku was no longer playing their game. He closed his eyes, and the dragon instinct fully awakened. He didn't fight the angels. He fought the space they occupied. When Cuss swung her staff, Goku bent the distance so she was swinging at Korn. When Campari fired a blast, Goku rewrote the vector so the blast returned to its sender, turning into harmless steam upon impact. He walked through the storm like a man walking through a light drizzle. He reached Vados. She was striking at him with a flurry of precise, lethal blows, tears streaming down her pale face. She was fighting her duty, fighting her grief, fighting him. Goku caught her wrist. The contact sent a shockwave through the void. "Vados," Goku said gently. She froze. The silver aura of her ultra instinct flickered and died. She looked into his eyes, the golden, vertical slits of the dragon. She saw no malice there, only a terrible burden. "Why?" she whispered. "You cannot win. Father is the law." "Laws change," Goku said. "When they become unjust," he released her. He didn't hurt her. He simply walked past her. The angels stood frozen, their formation broken. They realized with dawning horror that he hadn't been fighting them. He had been navigating them. They were not opponents to him. They were traffic. Goku took a step toward the palace gates, and then the universe knelt. It wasn't a physical force. It was a spiritual crushing. A pressure so immense, so absolute, that the void itself seemed to solidity into lead. The angels, even Vados, were forced to their knees, heads bowed, trembling. Goku stopped. The golden aura around him flared, resisting the pressure. His boots crunched on the nothingness. From the white light of the palace gates, a small figure emerged. He was short, with pale blue skin and white hair slicked back. A halo hovered behind his head, not spinning, but perfectly still. The Grand Priest. He floated down, his hands clasped behind his back. He didn't look angry. He didn't look worried. He looked disappointed. "Son, Goku," Daishinkan said. His voice was soft, but it echoed inside Goku's lungs. "You have made a mess of my garden." Goku looked up at the High Angel. For the first time since leaving ZALAMA, he felt resistance. The narrative authority of the dragon met the absolute hierarchy of the angel. The air between them crackled with black lightning. "Your garden is a graveyard," Goku replied, his voice doubling with the dragon's roar. Daishinkan descended until he was eye level with Goku. The Grand Priest's eyes were pools of violet infinity. "You wield a borrowed power," Daishinkan stated calmly. "ZALAMA is a creator. He drafts possibilities. But I am the maintainer of reality. Possibility is nothing until it is made real, and I decide what is real." Daishinkan raised one finger. "You believe you can rewrite the story? Very well. Let us see if your ink is permanent." The Grand Priest flicked his finger. It was a simple motion, but behind it was the weight of the entire multiverse. The space around Goku didn't just warp, it collapsed. A miniature black hole, compressed to the size of a coin, formed instantly on Goku's chest. It was an execution move. Instant. Unavoidable. Crack. The sound was like a planet snapping in half. Goku was launched backward. He smashed through the invisible staircase, tumbling down through the void for miles. The golden robes flickered, tearing apart. Blood red mixed with gold sprayed from his mouth. He crashed into a floating fragment of rock, embedding himself deep within the stone. High above, Daishinkan wiped his finger on his tunic, as if cleaning off a speck of dirt. "Go home, children," Daishinkan said to the kneeling angels. "I will dispose of the trash." But down in the crater, amidst the dust and the blood, a golden light began to pulse. It was erratic, violent, like a heart in fibrillation. Goku pulled himself out of the rock. There was a hole in his chest, smoking, cauterized. But as he stood, the golden scales swarmed over the wound, knitting bone and flesh together with agonizing speed. He looked up at the Grand Priest, and he smiled. It was a Saiyan smile, wild, broken, and terrified, but undeniably excited. "Okay," Goku wheezed, spitting out a tooth that turned into gold dust before it hit the ground. Now it's a fight." The dragon instinct flared, evolving. The golden aura turned jagged, mixing with the dark gray of the void. Goku rocketed back up. The clash did not begin with a sound. It began with the unraveling of the laws of physics. When Goku re-engaged the Grand Priest, the impact point generated a sphere of white-hot distortion that expanded instantaneously, vaporizing the floating debris of the Null Realm. The two entities did not trade blows. They traded definitions of reality. Daishinkan stood in the center of the storm, his halo glowing with a brightness that seared the eyes. He blocked Goku's strike with a single finger, just as he had done to so many others before. But this time, the finger trembled. "Insolence," the Grand Priest hissed, his polite veneer cracking like porcelain under stress. "You are a smudge on a perfect canvas. Then, paint over me," Goku roared. The Saiyan was a blur of violence and gold. He wasn't using martial arts anymore. He was using chaos. He spun, his leg crashing into Daishinkan's forearm with the weight of a collapsing star. The Grand Priest was knocked back only an inch, but an inch in this battle was a mile in any other. Daishinkan narrowed his eyes. The violet infinity within them darkened. He extended both hands, palms facing outward. Great priestly edict, absolute stasis. The command rippled out, time froze. The particles of dust stopped moving. The light stopped traveling. Goku was caught in mid-air, his fist cocked, trapped in a snapshot of eternity. Daishinkan floated forward, his expression serene once more. He stopped in front of the frozen Saiyan. "You see?" Daishinkan whispered, placing a hand on Goku's chest, directly over the healing scar. "Creation is messy. Order is precise. You cannot fight the one who sets the tempo of time." He prepared to fire a blast of pure erasure energy, point blank, into Goku's heart. But then, the golden eye of the frozen Goku twitched. Daishinkan paused. That was impossible. In absolute stasis, nerve impulses did not fire. Goku's lips moved. The sound didn't come from his throat, it came from the air itself, rewritten by the dragon's will. "My turn." The golden scales on Goku's skin flared. The stasis shattered like a glass window. Goku didn't just break free. He edited the timeline so that the stasis had never applied to him. He headbutted the Grand Priest. The sound was sickening, a wet, heavy thud of bone against divinity. Daishinkan stumbled back, clutching his nose. A single drop of blue blood leaked from his nostril. He stared at it, horrified. He hadn't bled in 5 billion years. "You..." The Grand Priest's voice dropped. becoming a terrifying, harmonic drone. You are distorting the sanctity of the hierarchy. The hierarchy is broken! Goku screamed. He raised his hands, fingers clawed. The atmosphere of the Null Realm began to scream. You let him erase everything! You stand there and watch while he wipes out families, histories, lives, just because he's bored. That's not order. That's madness. Goku slammed his hands together. Dragon Arts. Timeline Echo. This was the miracle ZALAMA had spoken of. Goku didn't just summon energy, he summoned possibility. The void around them fractured. Rifts in space-time tore open, bleeding distinct, different colored skies. From these rifts, figures emerged. They were translucent, ghostly, but crackling with power. From one rift stepped a Goku with red fur covering his body and long, wild hair, a primal Saiyan from a timeline that never discovered godhood. From another stepped a Goku wearing a halo, his face somber, wielding the Kaioken. From a third stepped a Goku clad in the uniform of a destroyer, his eyes purple, destruction energy leaking from his hands. The echoes were not clones, they were the what-ifs of existence, dragged into reality by the authority of the dragon. Attack! The Prime Goku commanded. The echoes swarmed. Daishinkan was besieged. He was fighting a legion of destinies. The Super Saiyan 4 roared, firing a red Kamehameha that burned with primal heat. The Destroyer Goku launched spheres of Hakai. The Halo Goku struck with the speed of the afterlife. The Grand Priest was forced onto the defensive. He moved in a blur of blue light, deflecting, parrying, dodging. But for every echo he destroyed, 2 more took its place. He was drowning in the sheer weight of Goku's potential. Enough! Daishinkan shrieked. He exploded. A shockwave of white light, the pure authority of the Angel Act, swept outward. It vaporized the echoes instantly. The red fur, the halos, the destroyer energy, all erased. The void was scrubbed clean. Daishinkan stood panting, his halo crooked, his clothes torn. He looked around wildly. The Prime Goku was gone. Where is he? Daishinkan snarled, his eyes darting. He looked up. Goku was already at the palace gates. He had used the echoes as a distraction. He wasn't trying to kill the priest. He was trying to get to the king. No! Daishinkan panicked. He launched himself upward, moving faster than he ever had in his life. You cannot enter. You will contaminate the throne. Goku stood before the massive, double doors of the Omni-King's palace. They were white, pristine, etched with the symbol of the All. He could feel Daishinkan approaching rapidly from behind a needle of death, closing in on his spine. Goku didn't knock. He pulled his fist back. The golden dragon scales extended, covering his entire arm in a gauntlet of narrative armor. He poured everything he had, the anger of Vegeta, the hope of Trunks, the silence of Jiren, the will of ZALAMA, into one point. Open, up, he punched the doors. The impact didn't just break the doors, it shattered the facade of the palace. The white walls cracked, the ceiling groaned. The blast blew the doors off their hinges, sending them tumbling into the throne room. Goku stepped through the debris, into the sanctum of the Omni-Kings. The room was vast, colorful, and floating, in a void of pure nothingness. In the center sat the 2 thrones. The 2 Xenos were floating in midair, looking at the door. Their expressions were unreadable. They weren't smiling, they weren't frowning. They looked like children whose bedroom door had been kicked open by a storm. Who is that? Future Xeno asked, his voice lacking its usual cheer. It's Goku, present Xeno said. But he's scary now. Goku walked toward them. His footsteps echoed on the checkered floor. He was bleeding from a dozen wounds. His energy was flickering, but his eyes, those golden, slit eyes, were locked on the small, colorful gods. Behind him, the air screamed. Daishinkan burst into the room, his face twisted in a mask of divine rage. My lords! Daishinkan shouted, preparing a final erasure technique. Step away! He is a corruption! I will purge him immediately! The Grand Priest raised his hand, a ball of white antimatter forming in his palm. It was enough power to erase the entire timeline, palace and all. He was willing to burn the house down to kill the rat. Daishinkan, stop, Goku said. He didn't turn around. He didn't raise a defense. He spoke to the kings. Xeno, Goku said. Look at him. The 2 Xenos looked past Goku, at their high priest. They saw the rage on Daishinkan's face. They saw the vein throbbing in his forehead. They saw the destructive energy in his hand, energy that was forbidden inside the throne room. Grand Minister? Present Xeno said softly. You look ugly. Scary, Future Xeno added. Not neat. Daishinkan froze. The criticism from his masters hit him harder than Goku's fist. His hand trembled. The erasure ball flickered. My lords, I'm protecting you, Daishinkan stammered. the rage draining away, replaced by a sudden, chilling fear. He is a threat to the Order. The Order is boring, Goku said. He stopped 10 feet from the thrones. He fell to one knee. Not in submission, but in exhaustion. The golden aura dimmed, revealing the battered Saiyan beneath. You erased Universe 6, Goku said to Zeno, his voice cracking. You erased Champa. You were gonna erase me. Just for a game. Zeno blinked. But games are fun. If they lose, they go bye-bye. That's the rule. Who made the rule? Goku asked. The question hung in the air. It was a simple question, but in this room, it was heresy. We did, future Zeno said. Because we are the kings, present Zeno said. A king protects his people, Goku whispered. He looked up, tears mixing with the gold dust on his face. He doesn't break them just to see what's inside. Daishinkan saw the hesitation in Zeno's eyes. He saw the dangerous spark of consideration. The Omni-King was not supposed to consider. He was supposed to act. Do not listen to him, Daishinkan yelled, desperation clawing at his throat. He is immortal. He does not understand the burden of infinity. Erase him, my lords. Squish him. Goku stood up. He turned to face the Grand Priest. You're right, Goku said. I'm immortal. I'm stupid. I just like to fight. He took a deep breath. The image of ZALAMA flashed in his mind. Become the axiom. But I know one thing, Goku said. If you have to erase everything to keep it perfect, then you've already lost. Goku raised his right hand. The golden light of the dragon god surged one last time, swirling around his arm, forming the spectral shape of Shenron's head over his fist. Daishinkan, Goku challenged. You want to enforce the rules? Then, let's follow the oldest rule in the book. He pointed at the Grand Priest. Trial by combat. Right here, in front of them. If you win, I let you erase me. I won't resist. But if I win? Goku looked back at Zeno. If I win, you bring them back. All of them. The Zenos looked at each other. They looked at the panting, desperate Goku. They looked at the composed, but terrified Grand Priest. Slowly, the present Zeno smiled. But it wasn't his usual vacuous smile. It was sharp. Excited. A fight? Zeno asked. A real fight? Future Zeno asked. Here? They clapped their hands. Okay, they shouted in unison. We want to see. Daishinkan's face went pale. He had been outmaneuvered. Not by power, but by the Saiyan's understanding of Zeno's nature. Zeno didn't care about order. Zeno cared about entertainment. The Grand Priest straightened his spine. His halo flared back to life, cold and precise. Very well, Son Goku, Daishinkan said, his voice regaining its icy calm. If you wish to die for a graveyard, I will oblige you. But do not expect a tournament match. This is an execution. Goku dropped into his stance, the turtle hermit style, fused with the stance of the dragon. I'm not expecting a match, Goku said. I'm expecting a miracle. The throne room dissolved. The walls fell away. The floor vanished. They were floating in a new arena created instantly by Zeno's will. A platform of white diamond, suspended in the swirling kaleidoscope of the multiverse core. Goku and the Grand Priest stood on opposite ends. The final battle for the soul of the cosmos began. The diamond platform did not exist in a location. It existed in a concept, the absolute center of the xenogeometry. Here, physics were not suggestions. They were non-existent. The only thing that mattered was the weight of the soul. Daishinkan, the Grand Minister, hovered 3 inches off the ground. His halo had stopped spinning. It was now a solid ring of blinding violet light, crackling with the energy of a billion dead stars. He did not look like a martial artist. He looked like a catastrophe waiting to happen. Across the expanse of white crystal, Son Goku stood in a crater of his own making. The golden robes of the dragon god were tattered, revealing the metallic, scaled armor of his transformed skin. He was breathing heavily, each exhale venting steam that smelled of ozone and ancient magic. Begin, whispered the present Zeno. Start, whispered the future Zeno. The universe did not explode. It imploded. Daishinkan moved. He didn't traverse the distance. He simply deleted the space between them. His palm, flat and rigid as a knife blade, struck Goku's chest. It was a blow meant to sever the spirit chain, the tether that kept a soul inside a body. Thumb. Goku didn't block it. He absorbed it. The golden scales on his chest shattered, spraying light like blood. But he didn't step back. He grabbed Daishinkan's wrist. Gotcha, Goku growled. The Grand Priest's eyes widened a fraction. Impossible. That strike disrupts the flow of time. I don't care about time, Goku roared. He pulled the angel in and delivered a headbutt that cracked the very foundation of the diamond platform. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the void, shaking the thrones of the Omni-Kings. Daishinkan stumbled back, his perfect hair disheveled, a bruise forming instantly on his pale forehead. He touched the wound, staring at his fingers in disbelief. "Pain," Daishinkan whispered. "You inflict pain. You've forgotten what it feels like," Goku said, straightening up, the scales on his chest knitting back together with a wet, grinding sound. "That's why you lose. You think you're above the consequences of a fight. You think you're the author, but you're just the editor." Daishinkan's face twisted. The polite mask fell away completely, revealing a terrifying, cold alien rage. "I am the law," Daishinkan shrieked. The Grand Priest threw his arms wide. Behind him, a halo of infinite size appeared, a spinning wheel of white fire that spanned the horizon. From the halo, beams of erasure rained down. It was a saturation bombardment. Every inch of the arena was targeted for deletion. "Try to edit this, Saiyan." Goku looked up at the rain of death. He didn't dodge. He couldn't dodge. There was nowhere to go. So he closed his eyes. He listened to the hum of the dragon blood in his veins. He felt the connection to ZALAMA, the vast, slumbering creator in the deep void. He remembered the feeling of the earth, the smell of the grass, the taste of a good meal, the pain of a broken bone. He remembered life. Xeno destroyed. Angels maintained. But dragons dreamed. Goku opened his eyes. They were no longer slits. They were wide, encompassing, burning with a gentle, terrifying gold. Dragon art's domain of the living. Goku punched the ground. He didn't aim at the beams, he aimed at the reality beneath his feet. A pulse of golden light exploded outward in a dome. Where the light touched, flowers bloomed on the diamond floor. Trees of energy erupted from the cold crystal. A wind began to blow, a warm, summer wind. The beams of erasure hit the golden dome and dissolved. They were not blocked. They were converted. The energy of destruction was rewritten into the energy of creation. The white rain turned into petals. Daishinkan watched in horror as his ultimate attack was turned into a garden. "What? What have you done?" the priest gasped. Goku walked through the flowers. He looked ancient now, a warrior monk draped in the fabric of myths. "I changed the rules," Goku said softly. "You fight with subtraction. I fight with addition. You can't erase something that keeps growing." Daishinkan trembled. He realized, with a sinking dread, that he was terrified. For the first time in eons, the outcome was not certain. The variable was chaotic. "I will not yield," Daishinkan screamed. He summoned a blade of pure violet ki, a weapon sharp enough to cut concepts. He lunged at Goku, a desperate, final strike aimed at the Saiyan's neck. Goku watched the blade come. He saw the path. He saw the intent. And he saw the fear driving it. He stepped inside the guard. He didn't punch. He placed his open palm on Daishinkan's chest, right over the angel's heart. "It's over, Daishinkan." Goku pushed. Dragon God impact, soul resonance. It wasn't a blast of destruction. It was a blast of truth. Goku poured the entirety of his experience, every win, every loss, every moment of mercy, every moment of rage, directly into the Grand Priest's soul. Daishinkan's eyes rolled back. He screamed, not in pain, but in overload. He was an entity of logic, being force-fed a billion years of emotion in a nanosecond. He felt the grief of the erased universes. He felt the terror of the mortals he had judged. He felt the crushing weight of his own coldness. The violet blade dissipated. The halo behind him shattered into dust. The Grand Priest fell. He hit the diamond floor among the golden flowers Goku had created. He lay there, gasping, tears streaming from his eyes, tears he didn't understand. Goku stood over him. The golden aura faded, leaving the Saiyan panting, his body smoking, his energy critically low. The dragon scales receded, leaving only his skin, scarred and bruised. Silence descended on the throne room. Slowly, distinctly, the sound of clapping began. Clap. 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 Wow. Present, Xeno cheered. Super wow. Future, Xeno yelled. They floated down from their thrones, drifting over the defeated form of their high priest. They looked at Goku with eyes full of wonder. That was cool, Xeno said. The flowers are pretty. Goku won, Future Xeno declared. Goku is the strongest. Goku fell to one knee, bowing his head. He was exhausted. The power of ZALAMA was heavy, a burden that was slowly crushing his mortal frame. I won, Goku rasped. So, the deal. Xeno nodded. A promise is a promise. Daishinkan lost. You win. The Omni-King raised his hand. Do you want to erase him? Xeno pointed at the shivering Grand Priest. No, Goku said quickly. He looked down at Daishinkan. He's not evil. He just forgot. He needs to remember what he's protecting. Let him live. Let him learn. Daishinkan looked up at Goku, his eyes red and raw. Why? He whispered. Because mercy makes you stronger, Goku said with a tired smile. I learned that on Earth. Goku turned back to Zeno. My wish. Bring them back. Universe 6, Universe 9, all of them. Every universe you erased in the tournament. Restore them. Zeno tilted his head. Okay, it will be fun to watch them again. The Omni-Kings snapped their fingers. The sound resonated across the multiverse. In the void, the bubbles of reality reappeared. Stars ignited. Planets reformed. In Universe 6, Champa woke up in his bed, screaming. In Universe 11, Jiren found himself standing in the ruins of the tournament arena, whole. Life returned. The tapestry was rewoven. Goku felt the shift. He felt the sudden explosion of ki across the cosmos. He felt Vegeta's energy on Earth, sharp and angry and relieved. He felt Gohan. He felt Pan. He closed his eyes and smiled. Tears leaked out. They're back. Indeed, the voice of Zalama spoke in his mind. You have achieved the impossible, Son Goku. You have overruled the kings. Goku stood up, ready to ask Whis to take him home. He wanted a feast. He wanted sleep. But, Zalama continued, his voice heavy with finality, you cannot go back. Goku froze. What? Look at yourself. Goku looked at his hands. They were trembling. Veins of gold were pulsing beneath his skin, glowing brighter with every heartbeat. The air around him was warping, twisting. The flowers on the floor were withering simply from his proximity. You have ingested the essence of the Creator. You have defeated the High Priest. Your existence is now too heavy for the lower planes. If you return to Earth, your mere presence will shatter the planet. Your gravity will collapse the solar system. You have evolved beyond the container of a mortal universe. Goku stared at the Xenos. They were looking at him with a strange, new respect. Goku can't go home, Zeno asked quietly. Goku's too big now, future, Zeno said. Goku felt a cold knot in his stomach. So, I'm stuck here? In the void. Not the void, Zalama said. The center. The Omni-King needs a counterbalance. Daishinkan represents order. You now represent possibility. You must stay here. You must be the guardian. If you leave, the balance collapses, and Zeno will erase everything again. It was the ultimate trade. Everyone lives, but he loses them. Goku looked into the distance, toward the faint glimmer of Universe 7. He could almost smell the food. He could almost hear Chi-Chi yelling at him for ruining his clothes. Can they hear me? Goku asked. If you speak with the will of the dragon, all will hear. Goku closed his eyes. He reached out with his mind, spanning the galaxies, bridging the dimensions. Hey, Goku spoke. On Earth, Vegeta froze mid-training. Bulma dropped her wrench. Gohan looked up from his book. Piccolo stopped meditating at the waterfall. The voice wasn't just in their heads. It was in the wind, in the sunlight. It's me. I did it. Everybody is back. The universes are safe. Kakarot. Vegeta whispered, looking at the sky. Where are you? Your ki. It's everywhere. I can't come back. Vegeta. Goku's voice echoed, sounding sad but peaceful. I got a little too strong this time. If I come down there, I might break things. So, I'm gonna stay up here. I'm gonna watch out for you guys. Make sure the little guys don't get bored and delete anything. On Earth, tears streamed down Chi-Chi's face. Gohan clenched his fists, shaking. Vegeta, Goku said. You're the protector now. Keep pushing. Surpass me. I'll be watching. And Gohan, tell Mom I'm sorry I'm missing dinner. But tell her the universe is safe. That's gotta count for something, right? The voice began to fade. Goodbye, guys. Until the next time. The connection severed. In the throne room, Goku opened his eyes. He looked at the Grand Priest, who had finally stood up, humbled and silent. He looked at the Xenos. All right, Goku said, cracking his neck. The gold energy settled around him, forming a permanent, shimmering cloak of office. So, what do we do now? Zeno floated over. Now? Now we watch. Zeno conjured a screen showing the universe's warriors training, civilizations building, life thriving. Goku sat down on the edge of the diamond platform. He dangled his legs over the abyss of the infinite void. He looked at the screen, watching his son hold his granddaughter. He wasn't lonely. He felt the hum of every living thing in existence. He was the wall that held back the dark. He was the dragon that guarded the gate. Goku smiled, a true, satisfied smile. Yeah, he said to the silence of eternity. Let's watch. The stars burned quietly, as if remembering his will. And in the center of all things, the Golden Guardian kept his vigil, the eternal champion of a story that would never end.